All right, here we go. This one's gonna be a 9mm versus 10mm test. Today we're gonna be trying out some Sig V-Crown. So for the 9, that one is our 115 grain V-Crown. That's what that one looks like. That one does have your standard brass case, and that one's rated at 1185 feet per second. We don't have our box out here today, but I had a few loose rounds and figured we'd try it out. And for the 10mm, that one is our 180 grain V-Crown. That one has your nickel plated brass, and that one's rated at 1250 feet per second. So we'll see how close we come today. So for our 9, we're going to be using our Glock 19C. That one does have a 4-inch barrel. It is compensated, so we'll probably be losing a little bit of velocity, but still should be pretty comparable. And for our 10mm, we're going to be using our Glock 29. That one has a 3.78-inch barrel. So we'll be going through our gel. It is a 10% block. Do over a catch block behind that, so a total of 22 inches of gel. 4 layers of cotton t-shirt on the front. Like always, we'll set up our chronograph so we can hopefully pick up those impact velocities. So let's set up and see how these rounds do head to head. First one up will be that 9mm. All right, we're setting back to 15 feet. All right, let's see how we did on that one. So that one definitely has some very light recoil because of those compensated, because that barrel is compensated. So that thing is definitely a very flat shooter. So let's see how we did. So it looks like our impact velocity on that one is 1141. So definitely not too bad. I believe advertised was 1185. So we do lose a little bit, out of that compensated barrel, but pretty good there. So there is that entry. Looks like you got a really good hit on that one. And like all the rest, you can see right down in there. Definitely took a little bit of that gel with it and a pretty decent star pattern so far. So let's check it out from the top. And not too bad from the top. Definitely not the biggest, stretch, but still pretty decent. It looks like that one carried pretty darn far. And look, it keeps on going, keeps on going. It looks like we made it about 2/3 of that second block. So we have a ton of penetration on that one. So very surprising, especially for that, super light 115 grain. So let's see what kind of measurement we have on this one at its widest spot. So it looks like we are about, let's see, that one's a little bit difficult to read. About 1.5 inches. So definitely not the biggest stretch from the top, or just in general, but still pretty good. So let's check it out from the side, and hopefully you guys are able to see this. This block is a little bit cloudy, but it looks like as soon as that thing came in, started to open up really nicely, and then it pretty much got that perfect spiral pattern all the way through that first one, and then it did start to flatline towards that second block. But let's see what kind of measurement we have here from the side. And from the side, it's pretty much the same, right at about 1.5 inches. So like I said, definitely not the most impressive, but for penetration, it definitely is. So let's see what kind of penetration we have. So our leading edge on this one, we are at 7.5 inches. So that made it 18.5 inches of total penetration on that. So that is crazy. So let's set it for that 10mm and see how that one does. All right, we're still back to 15 feet. All right, let's see how we did on that one. So it looks like our impact velocity on that one was 1221, and I actually did test that one off cam the other day just to see what kind of velocities we're getting, and I was averaging about 1239, so definitely really good to see for that 180 grain. And you know, that Sig V-Crown is one of the only ones that is, you know, pretty much up to par for a full power 10 mil, especially at that full size. So here is our entry on that one. Looks like we got a really good hit on that. And man, look at that hole. You can see right down in that cavity. And it almost looks like there is some shrapnel going on so far, but really, really big stretch cavity, and then nice spiral cuts going so far. So let's check it out from the top. Oh yeah, check that out. That is crazy. That thing is definitely doing some damage in this gel. Huge, huge stretch. Looks like it's carrying it, you know, pretty good ways, and then it did start to settle down towards the end, and then we made it a pretty good ways into our second block. So quite a bit of penetration for that one. So let's see at our widest spot. On this one, we are right at about 3 1/8 inches. So really good to see there, and you can actually see quite a few fragments going on. There's a little bit of copper petals and then some of the lead, but pretty impressive stuff there. And from the side, so let's see. So like I said, this is a little bit cloudy of a block, so hopefully you guys are able to see that, but pretty much as soon as that thing came in, got immediate expansion. You can see a few fragments kind of shooting off, but a really good star pattern and stretch cavity going on. Then it did settle down towards the end, and then you can see that round resting there in that second block. So let's see from the side. It's going to be a little bit difficult to get the side. We are right at about 2 1/4 inches from the side, so not as much from the side as from the top, but still pretty darn good. And let's see, you can see that round is actually facing away from us towards the right, and at our leading edge we are at 4 inches, so that made it a total of 15 inches of penetration. So very impressive for that. So let's check these tracks one more time from the top. So the one on the right is at 9 millimeter, one on the left is at 10 millimeter. So you can see that 9 came in, opened up, got a decent stretch cavity going all the way through. Some really nice spiral cuts at least. And that one, man, just kept going and going and made it into that second block. It is that one there on the bottom, but ton of penetration. And for that 10 millimeter, same thing. Looks like this one came in, got immediate expansion. You can see a few petals kind of shearing off, but a ton of damage. This is a huge stretch cavity. And it looks like it carried it probably about 3/4 of the way through that block and did start to settle down. And then we did make into that second block, and it's resting in there, but very impressive. So let's pull these rounds and see what they look like. All right, check these things out. Looks like they both got some pretty good expansion, so I'm sure you could tell which one is which. So the one on the right is at 9 millimeter, one on the left is at 10 millimeter. So here is that 9 millimeter. Definitely not the biggest expander, but still pretty good. Looks very uniform, pretty much picture perfect on that one. But that's why it penetrated so far, because, you know, it didn't open up as big, but still pretty impressive, especially for you know, that light 115 grain. But one really good looking round there. And for that 10 millimeter, that one's a whole different story. That thing is huge. Pretty much made it to its breaking point on that one, but peeled that lead back perfectly, mushroom really nicely, and then you can see those petals peeled right over that base, and there is a couple that it's missing that it did shear off in that block. Like always, we'll rinse these and pull all that stuff out here at the end before our pictures, but very, very impressive for that, especially out of that short barrel. Definitely one nasty round. So let's check them out one time from the bottom. So the one on the right is at 9 millimeter, one on the left is at 10 millimeter, and one time from the top. So like I said, I will rinse these so we can get all our geez, it's been a long day, guys. Done a bunch of tests today, so kind of tongue-tied, but we'll get our screenshots and slow-mo and all that good stuff here at the end. But there we go, guys. That one was Sig V-Crown 9 millimeter versus 10 millimeter. Thanks for watching, guys. All right, here's that cross section for that 9 millimeter. You can see some pretty decent cuts going on. There's a little bit of that cotton t-shirt down in there. Same thing on this side. Not the biggest splits, but still pretty good. I did remeasure these. They're peaking right at about 1 3/4 inches and averaging about 1.5 inches. So pretty much the same measurements as we got out there. So not too bad at all. So let's cut it open. All right, so here's after being cut. So this bottom is the right, this top is the left side. So you can see pretty much as soon as that one came in, started to open up. You can see a little bit of that damage going on. So this one didn't open up the widest, but we definitely got some awesome penetration on it. I think it was about 18 inches, which is super impressive. But you can see a little bit of tearing going on. Looks like it did drag in a little bit of that cotton t-shirt. Did have a pretty wide hull point cavity, so kind of expected there, but not too bad at all. So same on this other side, came in, started to parachute open, and then you can see that track going all the way through. Perfect. It did create perfect spiral cuts, though, which is cool from that rifling, but not too bad at all. And it was getting pretty close to advertised velocity. We were using that compensated barrel, so of course we're going to lose a little bit, but still, you know, not too bad. So there we go. That one was that 115 grain Sig V-Crown. All right, and here's that cross section for that 10 millimeter. This one had to cut a little bit differently because the widest cross section was actually a little bit further into the gel, but you can see how wide those splits are. Definitely did quite a bit of damage. I think it was moving over 1,200 feet per second, so it was really good to see out of that short barrel for sure. So I did remeasure these, and they are right at 3 inches. So definitely some impressive stuff. So let's cut this open. All right, and here's after being cut. So this bottom is the right side, this top is the left. So you can see as soon as this thing came in, probably the 1/8 inch mark started to open up and just blowing this stuff out. Has a huge stretch going on. Nice wide tears. This is where that wider cross section was towards the end, or you know, further into the gel, a few inches. It wasn't right off the bat like it normally is, but pretty impressive stuff. You can see a pedal right there. There is actually another one that I did pull out from another section, but definitely some impressive stuff. Nice wide splits. So same thing on this other side, came in, opened up. You can see that nice channel going all the way through. There is a little bit of black fabric. Normally when I put up my cotton t-shirt layers, I usually mark it with a Sharpie, just so I know exactly where to aim, and it looks like I hit it, you know, right where I was aiming. So I've been pretty happy with that 29 so far. It's super accurate, even out at, you know, longer range. But same thing on this side, huge splits, nice and deep, cotton t-shirt all over the place, but definitely one jumbled mess. We'll do one more quick angle this way, but you can see how nasty that stuff is. There's one more copper pedal down in there, and same thing on this side. Nasty stuff. So there we go, guys. That one was that 180 grain Sig V-Crown out of that Glock 29.